Imagine having a coding partner who never sleeps, never takes a break, never goes on vacation, and is there without providing any judgment to you whatsoever. That is what you can get with GitHub Copilot.
Okay, I'm now in VS Code, and let's take a look at how to get started using GitHub Copilot. Now, the main goal of using Copilot is threefold. One is to increase the speed at which we can deliver code. Two, increase the quality of the code that we deliver. And three, to increase our knowledge of what we're doing and how the Copilot agent actually creates his code so we can learn from that next time. So let's jump over and go to Extensions, and let's install the GitHub Copilot extension. Right here, it'll be under recommended, or you can simply search for it. I'm going to click install, trust and install. Now there's two components to this. There's a GitHub Copilot and a GitHub Copilot chat. If you install either of these, it will install both of them inside of VS Code. Once that is installed, you can come over to this icon over here. You can see that it has an X on it. It means you're not signed in to your Copilot account. A free GitHub account is required in order to use this inside of VS Code. So I'm going to simply click this icon to sign in, and it's going to jump me over to a browser window. I'm going to use an account that is in the free tier, so you can see what everybody can get right out of the box for free. It's going to relaunch VS Code, and what I found is it's best to close and reopen VS Code just so everything can refresh correctly. You can see it doesn't have the X on it anymore, so I am signed in. And there's two main components to this. There's an inline completion window, which we'll see here when we're working with code, and then there's the chat component, which is over here on the right. Select this dropdown, configure code completions. We can actually see the model that's being used for our code completions. Here it says it's using GPT-4.1, and now this will change over time when more models are released for this. If there was a selection here, you'd be able to change it. And again, this is for the code completion in this main window. Over here on the right, there's a different model that's used, and it's down here on the right. So there's three main components of the chat. There's the agent, which is used for building out pretty much full-blown applications. There's the ask mode, where you want to ask it questions. This will not do any modifications to any code. And then there's the edit mode, where now you're going a step farther than the ask, but not quite as far as agent mode would go. And you're asking it to actually edit files, and you can choose what files you want it to edit. We're going to start off in ask mode. And down here, you have the selection for which model you would like to use. Now, there is the difference between the free tier and the pro account. The pro account will give you more access to premium calls. The free account, I think you get 50, and I think it's something like 300 with the pro. But the main takeaway for the pro account is you get access to premium models. So you get access to GPT-5, for example, and Claude Sonnet 4.0, which is significantly better at code completions than what I've seen from these free models. So I've done a lot of demos in the past comparing the two. You can check my YouTube channel for other videos related to that if you're interested in seeing some of the differences. I'd highly recommend the investment in the pro tier. It costs $10 a month and is well worth it if you're using this more than once or so a week. For now, let's just go to GPT-4.1 and use that for what we're going to do. And let's go ahead and open a new folder. And what I want to do is create a phone number validation application. So I'm going to create a new console app. Now I could use the completion mode. I could use the agent mode to actually create this for us if I wanted. I'm just going to show us kind of step by step as we go through things. So validate phone, just creating a blank console app here. And it's going to create a project for us. Now, in ask mode, I'm going to start with ask mode and say, how would I validate a US phone number? And let's see what this does. So now very quickly here, it comes back and says you could create a function with the regex expression as shown here, and it'll validate the phone number for you. This is fantastic, but it didn't actually change any files over here. Nothing happened, which is what we expected from the ask mode. And now you can ask this any type of code related question. It doesn't have to be related to anything that you're actually working with. So now I'm going to switch over to edit mode. And it's just going to say it's going to refresh that window. And I'm going to open up our project, our program.cs. And when I open this, you can see here it's added this to context. So it's going to use program.cs. So if this was an existing file that had existing code in here, you could simply add it to context here. If there's other files you wanted to add, you could add it here as well, and then ask questions about it. Under add context, you can add other things, files, folders, screenshots, all kinds of different things here that to help the agent answer your question for us. I'm going to leave it in edit mode, and I'm going to say update to validate a US phone number. Now I'm being very vague here. I'm not giving it very good instructions. I'm not a very good prompt. I'm not saying how I want it to do it or anything else that I want with that. But once that does it, you can see here it highlights everything, that is all the changes that it's made, and you have the ability to step through them and make changes. If it changed multiple files, you could see them all here. Once I've reviewed this and I'm satisfied with what it has here, I can say keep, and it's going to actually just clear all that and accept these here. They do look like there may be some build errors here, so let's just have it check for build errors. And let's just have it build it and see if everything works right. And it did find that there are no build errors. So let's go ahead and try to build this ourselves and run this. I'm going to open up a new terminal, and let's move to our validate phone, and let's do .NET build just to make sure. And everything did build successfully there. And let's just run this. And I want to enter a number. And that looks like a valid number. Let's go ahead and run this again. Just put in gobbledygook and invalid US phone number. So it's operating exactly like we expected, except we are getting this hello world. So I don't really like that. So I'm going to come over here in edit mode and say remove hello world, and go ahead and have it operate and remove that for us. You can see it refactored the code here. You can see it's red here and asking me to accept. I can come through here per individual change and accept it. And just like that, it's going to remove that. And I'm going to go ahead and keep this. It actually added another line here for some other reason. I'm determined that it needed that apparently. Let's just go ahead and run it again. And this time it seems to have introduced a build error. I wasn't really sure why I added that other line down there. So I'm going to simply say fix build error. And now we'll just go ahead and try to execute the code and find out why it had a build error there. And it found extra brackets, and it still does not look like it has completed, because you do see that it is red there. So in this case, let's just go ahead and look at it ourselves, and we can see sure enough it does have this whole second line here. It shouldn't even be there. So not sure why I put it in there. Again, this is where their model of choice kind of comes into play. If you used a premium model, I would expect premium results, right, from the pro tier. But this is definitely a case where it's not perfect. It's not going to get everything right. That you do need to watch what it's doing and interpret what it's doing and apply your own skills for that here. So it's definitely not something that's going to replace us as developers, because we still need to be able to understand what it's doing and sometimes fix these errors when even I asked it to fix the build error and it still couldn't do it. So let's come down here. Let's run this again. Oh, whoops, I forgot to save the file. Okay, now let's go ahead and test that again. .NET run. And let's put in a number. And valid US phone number. Do it one more time, something invalid. And sure enough, invalid US number. Okay, now that we saw the experience using the chat component, let's take a look at our inline editor. I'm going to jump over here to our class, and it's the isValidUS phone number. Let's go ahead and write the phone number that we're validating to a log file. So I'm going to write a comment here. Write phone number to log file. And just like that, it gives me a whole method for doing exactly what I want. I just hit tab to accept what it has written here. And just like that, we're using the inline editor to auto-generate and predict code for us on our behalf. So in this case, it created everything just like we would expect. And I could go ahead and save this. And we could go ahead and run it again. And .NET run. And let's put a number. And just like that, we see over here our log.txt file is automatically created for us. And here's our date time along with the number that it is validating. So you can see how quickly and powerful it is to use this inline editor. And you just put a comment in there and it's going to auto predict what you're using. And what I found in my experience is it's really mind blowing. The ability for it to predict and know exactly what you want to do. I just simply find myself tabbing through here, creating all my code for me using this inline editor. So what we saw in this demo is how quickly and easy it is to get set up with GitHub Copilot. It's about increasing your productivity by bringing these answers directly to your fingertips right here in VS Code. We saw how we could use the chat component in 3 different modes, and we saw how we could use our inline component right here to auto-generate code for us. So with that, it concludes our demo. I highly suggest everybody to jump in and get started with GitHub Copilot today. Now, they do have a free 30-day offer on the Pro account. I'd highly suggest everybody jumping in and getting the Pro account. Use those premium models. It's going to greatly increase your satisfaction with the code that's delivered. So with that, thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and make sure you take a look at some of my other videos, all related to GitHub Copilot. Thanks a lot. Take care.